In an isolated town, surrounded by mountains and dense forests, there was an old asylum known as Santa Teresa. The place, gloomy and cold, housed patients with severe mental illnesses. Maria, a dedicated caretaker, had worked there for over 20 years. She knew all the secrets and stories of the patients, but nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to discover. One day, a new patient was admitted to the asylum. His name was Mr. Vicente, an elderly man with a frail appearance and a lost gaze. He had been found wandering the streets, with no memory of who he was or where he came from. The doctors believed he was suffering from dementia, but Maria felt there was something more to his story. During her night rounds, Maria often passed by Mr. Vicente's room. One night, hearing him murmur softly, she decided to enter. She sat beside him and, with patience, listened to his disjointed words. Gradually, the story began to make sense. Vicente spoke of a series of disappearances that had occurred in the town many years ago, of people who were never found. As Vicente spoke, Maria became increasingly disturbed. He described in haunting detail how he had been involved in the disappearances, mentioning specific locations and names of people that Maria vaguely remembered from the town's stories. He talked about an abandoned house in the forest, where bodies were buried, and a powerful man who controlled everything. Maria didn't know if she should believe Vicente's words. He was a patient in an asylum, after all, but something about his story seemed true. Something in his eyes conveyed sincerity. Determined not to ignore her instincts, Maria decided to act. The next morning, she called the police, reporting what she had heard. The police, initially skeptical, decided to investigate due to the wealth of details provided by Vicente. While exploring the forest, they found the abandoned house exactly as he had described. With each step, the truth began to unfold. Bodies were discovered in shallow graves, and the identifications matched the names Vicente had mentioned. During the investigation, something even more shocking came to light. Vicente was not just a passive observer of the crimes. He had been forced to collaborate, threatened by an influential man in the town who had deep and dark connections. This man, still at large, did everything to keep his secrets buried. With the new evidence, the police were able to arrest the real culprit, a respected man in the community whose connections spanned from politicians to local businessmen. Vicente was finally seen as a victim who, for years, had carried a burden too heavy for his mind to bear. Maria, who had always seen the asylum as a place of suffering, now saw it as a place where the truth finally came to light. Vicente, now free from the weight of his secrets, began to show signs of recovery. The town, shaken by the revelations, started to process the impact of the long-hidden crimes. The story of Mr. Vicente and caretaker Maria became a symbol of courage in the search for truth. Maria was celebrated as a heroine, an ordinary woman who had the courage to listen and believe. The Santa Teresa Asylum, once a place of pain, was now seen as the place where justice began to be served. Like, comment, and share this emotional story. Your opinion is very important to us.